There he is.
Waiting, adding, connecting, connecting,
Hey,
adding.
how are you?
John, I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing great. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you, man. I'm just drinking you in.
Lifting and beautiful. What we're all grateful for. What a great way to start our day, week, everything.
I'm going to be honest with you. Yesterday, I had just a shitty day. I just had a shitty day. I don't even know why. There's no good reason for it. And today it kind of lasted this morning. And so I was like, Rainn, you got to practice what you preach. I did a little meditation. I did a gratitude exercise. And I won't say like I'm all better, but, just that incrementalness of those exercises, that 10 to 20% betterness that you can get, really made a big difference and has helped turn my day.
Dude, that's amazing. Hey, everybody's
Yeah.
up and have a bad day, right?
Apparently, yeah. I personally feel like I can't really have a bad day. I don't know what that is. That's just my own, I don't know. I have therapy on Thursday. I'll dig into that with him.
Nice. Maybe your character on The Office had so many bad days that you burned them up.
Maybe so. Maybe
You
that's
burned
what it is.
up all your bad days and fictitious bad days.
It's so great seeing you. We talk every once in a while, text every once in a while, but just to see you face to face is a really great thing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me
Yeah.
on. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on the show. And listen, I just want to start off by saying just a profound congratulations to your show, Some Good News, which, and I've expressed this to you like on numerous occasions, but it was like exactly what the country needed. And you just tapped into that zeitgeist right from the get-go and just gave an incredible balm to people. They needed good news. It had nothing to do with politics or partisanship. It was uplifting and fun and occasionally profound. And you just hit a home run with that. And it was a tremendous service. So thank you for that.
Dude, Rainn, that means so much to me. Thank you for saying that. And thank you for being a part of it twice, by the way.
Twice.
No, that show, it's funny. I've received the most amazingly kind notes about how much that's probably the most emotionally fulfilled I've ever felt in my entire life. I thought to do it because I was sitting around and I was starting to get bummed out and sort of trying to figure out how I was going to wade through this weird, uncertain time.
Yeah.
And I said to my wife, I said, I had this idea a few years ago to start a good news network. And she said, you should do it right now. And so I went in my office and just did it right there. And the truth is, I like I said on the first episode of the show, I think it is something that we have always needed. And I'm so glad that we were able to bring it and are able to bring it because we're so excited to keep doing it. But I think that at the end of the day, it's just something that was so amazing. I felt like I was a part of a really, really special community of people who brought not only all the good news, but all this interaction. And we have the most fantastic community of people like you and SoulPancake. It's like, that's how we feel about the Some Good News community. We would be so nothing without all that art and all that fun and all that back and forth. It was just so much fun to celebrate good things during this really weird time.
And really exciting that it's going to continue. So that's fantastic. You don't have to pull the plug. I know you're busy acting and directing and stuff like that. And the show goes on. Tell me about that chapter.
Well, it's funny. It was one of those things where I was only planning on doing 8 of them during quarantine because, like I said, I have these other things that I'm going to be having to do very soon, like Jack Ryan and all this other stuff. But more than that, it was, just something that, writing, directing, and producing and all those things with a couple of my friends was so much. I knew it wouldn't be sustainable with my prior commitments. So I knew the two options always were going to be that I leave it off at 8 in my office, which I would love to keep doing the show from my office forever. It wasn't sustainable. And
Sure.
So I would need a partner coming on. And it was funny because in the first episode, like I said, I was thinking, why isn't there a good news show that's dedicated entirely to good news? And now we have one of the biggest, news programs in America, CBS News, saying that they want to make it part of their permanent news cycle, which is insane. The fact that we were able to accomplish that in 8 weeks, it went from non-existing to now being on one of these huge news networks, is honestly one of the most amazing honors I've ever been able to pull off. And again, it was all due to the community and to the people. And so we have a lot of really fun stuff planned, and I can't wait to dig in. And I'm going to be a part of it whenever I can, and I'm going to host a couple and bring on a different community of people. Maybe you. Sorry, I had something in my eye. But no, we're really, really excited about it. And I couldn't pick a better partner than the same CBS News that had, Walter Cronkite and all these.
Yeah.
But by the way, I'm comparing myself to Walter Cronkite. I very much am not. On the other hand, I'm very similar to Walter Cronkite. No, it's one of those things where I grew up watching, news on a network. And I know this generation doesn't do that, but I watched it on one of 3 networks. And the fact that there will be a show dedicated to just good news on a network like that is insane. And I think it's something we all need.
That's fantastic, man. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And it should continue. We are going to be needing good news, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and something to tune into that, uplifts us, fulfills us, connects us. So, good on you, mate.
Like you said, it's exactly that. It's not only the news program that's fun, but it's the community of everybody coming together and celebrating that there's a lot going on in the world, but there's always something good to celebrate. And there's always something good to talk to each other about. And that was my, favorite part of the week, was looking through all these incredible stories. But honestly, I was blown away by how much, and I thought of this for your show, how much people said how easy it was to be good, and how easy it was to be generous to someone, and how easy it was to help someone out where they would have thought that it would have taken a whole lot of strength or courage or any of these things. And you find it instantaneously, and you act on it instantaneously, and the world changes instantaneously.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. So how have you been doing personally? You've got, I don't want to give your whereabouts there. But you've got 2 little girls and your wife.
You're making it out CIA black.
Wait, what's that?
I said you're making it out like I'm at a CIA black site, so thank you.
Well, I had someone on the show, and they're like, you can't mention what city I'm in, because it gets tricky. But listen, how's it been for you? How's it been with your kids in all this, and the homeschooling and all that? How have you been surviving personally?
Well, we've been surviving. I mean, we're very lucky and very blessed that we have each other, and that, everybody's happy and healthy. And my parents and my family and Emily's parents and family, everybody's happy and healthy. So that's the thing that matters most. And then, but it's a weird thing to wrap your head around. So I think that for me, it's been about, most of my focus when it wasn't on the show was, really on my kids and making sure they understood it. Because I think that some of these big things that my kids were talking about were really heavy and hard to sort of, one of those things that you didn't think was going to be in the parent manual was, am I ever going to see my friends again? Full stop. And you're like, whoa, right. Because of course, as a small person, you think this is it, and so both my girls, I think, are still working through that idea of, we keep telling them that you're going to see your friends at some point. And they're like, yeah. And so they're still trying to figure it out. And I think that, again, it just shows the superpower of human interaction and direct communication and hugs, man. I mean, hugs have become something that my girls talk about a lot. They keep saying, I can't wait to hug my friend. And that just, to me, that's so glowingly sweet. And again, you, as everybody knows, you look for these golden nuggets of truth, and they'll always come from your kids because they're the purest sort of life force out there.
Right.
How are you?
I'm good. I mean, I'm like you. My family's all healthy, and like I've said on this show a dozen times, I'm lucky. I've got a nice house, and there's trees, and I've got enough food. I've got work. I don't have to worry about being laid off or where my rent's coming from in August. So I'm super, super grateful in these really difficult times. But yeah, doing well. And my son's a teenager. Walter is 15, and it's been rough on him too, because all a teenager wants to do is get away from their parents and connect with their friends. And And he's not able to. He went on a bike ride yesterday with a buddy of his, just staying 6 feet apart, biking around the neighborhood. So that was very good for him, for his mental health.
Interesting too, because I think that part of me feels lucky sometimes to have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old who, yes, feel like this is the end of their world because their world is so small and their timeline is so small. But I really do. It's funny. I was just talking to my brother about this, that I really think about the kids, especially in high school, Walter's age, who have lived enough life experience to know that this is very weird and very, that this is a new program and that we're bearing down and having to pull from somewhere deeper. And that's a pretty massive thing. It's once in a few generations that the entire world is called upon to do something together. So I'm thinking of him, and I hope that he sees that there is something, and I'm sure all kids in high school and college are like, whatever, but it's like, there is something that will define this generation, hopefully in a way that makes them feel like they were resilient and powerful and strong enough to get through to the next level, which is going to be great.
I think what you're saying right now is just right on the money. I mean, we are powerful and resilient, and we'll make it through this. And this will be one of those things in the history books that is like World War II or like the Great Depression. It's one of these significant world human events, and we will pull through, just like Alex said in her letter at the top, that we are warriors, and also that Dwight Schrute says we are warriors. So that's what we need. We need humble, vulnerable, empathetic warriors.
Yeah.
Listen, I said I was talking to Steve the other day, just connected with him and had this conversation, and on it I was like, dude, I said to him, if someone went into a coma like 5 years ago and woke up, and they'd be like, they were asking questions about what's going on in the world, and they would say, and what's the most popular television show in the world right now? You would say The Office, and they'd be like, what? No, that show went off the air 6 years ago. What are you talking about? It was popular in 2009, 10.
I went back in time.
Yeah. Isn't this crazy that we're belatedly part of this kind of international television sensation? It's crazy.
I mean, it's astounding. And to me, what's astounding about it is, especially you and I, but anybody who was a fan of the show right from the beginning knows that we were making 4 episodes at a time, 6 episodes at a time. We weren't even sure. I mean, I know you remember this, but like the folks from NBC weren't sure we were coming back ever. It was one of those where I legitimately have, I know I've told the story before, but I have a DVD that one of the guys at NBC very sweetly made me. Jeff Engold back then was an executive who came down every Friday.
Yeah.
And this show is my favorite show. This is the last episode you're shooting. And I was like, oh my God. And I said, could I just get the first 6 episodes on DVD so I can prove to my mom that I did it? And he said, Mrs. Krasinski, your son was in these 6 episodes. It's my favorite thing I've ever seen, or something like that. So I remember you and I thinking, we're on the best show that nobody will ever see. And now we're on a show that before all this, I was at an airport and a 4-year-old came up to me and was like, it's my favorite show. And I was like, what? What are you talking about?
Wow.
So amazing that a 4-year-old said it was their favorite show, and that he watches it with his whole family. And that, again, that idea that everybody can watch the show. I'm blown away. I mean, personally, I think it's the best thing I'll ever do in my career. I think that
I agree. Yep.
Everybody always says, at the end of the day, what if you're only known for Jim Halpert? I was like, are you kidding me? That would be the greatest thing ever. And I remember
that would be amazing
saying that. I remember Steve. Do you remember that? One day he was like, you guys know that no matter what we go on to do, we could go to space, and this will always be the thing we're known for, and how lucky we are that that's the case.
Yeah. He said that in the first season when we went out to lunch, and that always stuck in my head. I think it stuck in all of our heads. And I don't know how he kind of had that premonition, like this could be the thing that defines us.
And I remember he was in this moment. He was just, he was, he had more experience certainly than me and most other people, but at the time, but he was like, no, we're in that moment. This is something really special. And and again, I don't know that I'll ever have that collaboration with that many extraordinarily talented people from all those incredible writers. My favorite question I always get is like, how much you guys improv? And I was like, hardly at all, because even my looks to the camera were written by the writers. Those people were the most talented folks in the world.
I also said this recently. I said this to Steve. I did Jenna's podcast, The Office Ladies, and we saw The Initiation. And I always remember, and I hadn't seen it since it first came out. I mean, literally had not seen it in 10 years. And we go out to Dwight's Beet Farm, and it was me and BJ talking about it. But I forgot, John, that the whole last like 5 to 6 minutes of that episode is just the phone call with you and Jenna.
Oh, that's right.
Where you were in the other office. And it was amazing. It was so incredibly beautiful that the whole episode just stopped. And then you guys just talked for like forever.
Yeah.
And it was incredible.
Well, again, I remember moments like that. You read it on the page and you go, that is incredible. We'll never shoot it like that, right? Because no one will want to see that. And the confidence of people like Greg Daniels and Mike Schur and BJ and all those people to say, you know, no, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to actually what's a good moment on television. And I remember thinking, that's incredible. There were so many moments like that. I remember, because I did Office Ladies too, which was incredible. And I love what they're doing. It was so much fun, but again, it was like memory lane to the nth degree. And I was going over Casino Night and we were talking about that last scene. And I remember or Jenna told me that actually the scene in the parking lot was the last scene we ever shot of that episode. Me telling her that I loved her, and actually a kiss that happened long before that. And I thought, oh, I would never have remembered that. And again, it was like the whole set shut down. It was this very particular moment that Ken Kwapis, it was just beautiful. I miss it.
But I think the reason I'm bringing all this up is not to just, you know, throw plaudits at our old show, but also that the fact that the show is giving people so much happiness and comfort during these times. And it's a really anxious world, and the office is like this family that people are able to come back to. It makes me feel really happy in my heart. Like, oh, we had a blast. It was a really fun run. It was a fun run. But most of all, the fact that it has so much heart to it that, and I remember Greg Daniels always saying, like, we just want like 90% funny and like 10% heart. But that 10% heart is, I think, what keeps people coming back to see the show over and over again.
I totally agree. And again, it's an honor. It's like I said about being known as Jim. I think that the fact that people take solace in this show for any reason, let alone a moment like this, which is just sort of discombobulating to the highest level of just not understanding which way is up right now, you know. You've always heard the old adage that the power of laughter is, you know, everything, but but in practice takes guts. And I'm just so blown away. I totally remember. I also remember, I don't know if Greg told you this, but I remember Greg telling me, your job on this show is not to play the lines funny. Your job on this show is to play the lines truthfully. And if people think that something that Jim does is funny, then that's up to them. And if they think that there's a moment with you and Jenna that's emotional, that's up to them too. We're a documentary, so just play it for real and allow people to put their own lives on you and see what they need to see it through you. And I remember thinking that was some like Zen Cohen kind of thing. That was just so epic and so smart on his part.
We were so lucky to have such a great leader. But I have one last question for you before you go, and that is, do you think that you're more prepared for this pandemic because you've spent so much time with those sound-hating creatures from A Quiet Place, and you're ready for the invasion? And when is the invasion happening for real?
It's funny. I definitely am more. I definitely have a more in tune version of apocalyptic worlds ever since A Quiet Place. Luckily, the creatures haven't shown up yet, although I am being pretty loud, so give it time. No, that was. It's funny. I think Maya Rudolph was the first person to text me during this whole thing and be like, "All right, we get it. When are the creatures showing up?" So if they do, I promise I will let everyone know. I won't hold it for myself. I'll let everybody know.
Well, it's good. Good preparation. John, thanks so much for your time. Thanks for stopping by. Hey there, human, today.
You have an awesome thing going here, man, and I'm so proud of you about everything, but SoulPancake in particular. You've done an amazing thing, dude. You are a wonderfully beautiful human, and I'm sorry that Dwight didn't show that to people more often, because the truth is, I love you.
Oh, I love you too, man. Thanks so much. That's very kind and sweet. And congrats on all your great stuff, and much love to your family. And I hope we see each other face to face soon.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait.
And even hug.
Oh, can't wait. The power of that. Here we go.
Power of the hug. So long, Johnny.
Here's to you and all your people out there. This is a weird time, but we will get through it, like you said.
Appreciate that. Thanks, man. All right. How about that? So nice. What a great guy. Wish him all the best. He's doing such great stuff out there, putting such great stuff into the world. It was a sincere pleasure working with him for 9 years. Really brilliant. And I've said this before in interviews, for those who don't know, and I think he's gone now, so he's not listening, but I always said, like in my head, I was like, oh my God, this guy's going to be a brilliant writer director, because he would always have ideas on scenes, and he would always kind of lean over and whisper like, hey, what if you did ta 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 ta, and then like this, and he would give me these notes, and they helped make Dwight so much better. The notes I got from John Krasinski made Dwight at least 14% better and funnier through the years, and now he's writing and directing, which is awesome. Thanks, guys.